Hello, my friends. It is time for another episode of The Prince and the Pauper. And today we are going back to the Prince. We've spent most of the first 9 chapters with Tom, the Pauper. Today we turn our attention to Edward, who is the actual prince who's living at Tom's house, or so we think. Let's go find out. Okay, so The Prince and the Pauper, Chapter 10, The Prince in the Toils. We left John Canty dragging the rightful prince into awful court with a noisy and delighted mob at his heels. There was but one person in it who offered a pleading word for the captive, and he was not heeded. He was hardly even heard, so great was the turmoil. The prince continued to struggle for freedom and to rage against this treatment he was suffering until John Canty lost what little patience was left in him and raised his oaken cudgel in a sudden fury over the prince's head. The single pleader for the lad sprang to stop the man's arm, and the blow descended upon his own wrist. Canty roared out, "Thou'lt meddle, wilt thou? Then have thy reward." A dim form sank to the ground. I should probably share my screen. So 1 second, because you need to see this dim form that has shrunken to the ground. Oh, we shall see. We shall see. Okay. Make sure the sound is on and go here and share. Okay, so there you have it. This poor, a dim form sank on the ground right here. Okay, so here we go. We keep reading. His cudgel crashed down upon the meddler's head. There was a groan. A dim form sank to the ground among the feet of the crowd, and the next moment it lay there in the dark, alone. The mob pressed on, their enjoyment nothing disturbed by this episode. Presently, the prince found himself in John Canty's abode, with the door closed against the outsiders. But by the vague light of a tallow candle, which was thrust into a bottle, he made out the main features of the loathsome den, and also the occupants of it. Two frowsy girls and a middle-aged woman cowered against the wall in one corner, with the aspect of animals habituated to harsh usage, and expecting and dreading it now. From another corner stole a withered hag with streaming gray hair and malignant eyes. John Canty said to this one, "Terry, there's fine mummeries here. Mar them not till thou'st enjoyed them. Then let thy hand be heavy as thou wilt. Stand forth, lad. Now say thy foolery again, and thou'st not forget it. Name thy name. Who art thou?" The insulted blood mounted to the little prince's cheek once more, and he lifted a steady and indignant gaze to the man's face and said, "'Tis but ill breeding in such as thou to command me to speak. I tell thee now, as I told thee before, I am Edward, Prince of Wales, and none other." The stunning surprise of this reply nailed the hag's feet to the floor where she stood and almost took a breath. She stared at the prince in stupid amazement, which amused her ruffianly son, that he burst into a roar of laughter, but the effect upon Tom Canty's mother and sisters was different. Their dread of bodily injury gave way at once to distress of a different sort. They ran forward with woe and dismay in their faces, exclaiming, "Oh, poor Tom, poor lad!" The mother fell on her knees before the prince, put her hands upon his shoulders, and gazed yearningly into his face through her rising tears. Then she said, "Oh, my poor boy! Thy foolish reading hath wrought its woeful work at last, and ta'en thy wit away. But why didst thou cleave to when I so warned thee against it? Thou broke thy mother's heart." The prince looked into her face and said gently, "Thy son is well, and hath not lost his wits, good dame. Comfort thee, let me to the palace where he is, and straightway will the king kiss my father restore him to thee." "The king, thy father! Oh, my child, unsay these words that be freighted with death for thee, and ruin for all that be near thee. Shake of this gruesome dream. Call back thy poor wandering memory. Look upon me. Am I not thy mother that bore thee and loveth thee?" The prince shook his head reluctantly and said, "God knoweth I am loth to grieve thy heart, but truly I never looked upon thy face before." The woman sank back to a sitting posture on the floor, and covering her eyes with her hands, gave way to heartbroken sobs and wailings. "Let the show go on," shouted Canty. "What, none? What, bet? Mannerless wenches, will you stand in the prince's presence? Upon your knees, you paupers, come and do him reverence." He followed this with another hoarse laugh. The girls began to plead timidly for their brother, and Nan said, "And thou wilt but let him to bed, father. Rest and sleep will heal his madness. Prithee do." "Do, father," said Beth. "He is more worn than is his wont. Tomorrow will he be himself again, and will beg with diligence, and not come empty home again." This remark sobered the father's joviality and brought his mind to business. He turned angrily upon the prince and said, "The morrow we must pay 2 pennies to him that owns this hole. 2 pennies, mark ye, all this money for a half year's rent. Else out of this we go. Show what thou'st gathered with thy lazy begging." The prince said, "Offend me not with thy sordid matters. I tell thee again, I am the king's son." A sounding blow upon the prince's shoulders from Canty's broad palm sent him staggering into Goodwife Canty's arms, who clasped him to her breast and sheltered him from a pelting rain of cuffs and slaps by interposing her own person. The frightened girls retreated to their corner, but the grandmother stepped eagerly forward to assist her son. The prince sprang away from Mrs. Canty, exclaiming, "Thou shalt not suffer for me, madam. Let these swine do their will upon me alone." The speech infuriated the swine to such a degree that they set about their work without waste of time. Between them, they belabored the boy right soundly, and then gave the girl, their mother, a beating for showing sympathy for the victim. "Now," said Canty, "to bed, all of you. The entertainment has tired me." The light was put out, and the family retired. As soon as the snorings of the head of the house and his mother showed that they were asleep, I have to stop.